So we're going to work on the rear springs of my Tamiya Lunchbox. We're going to be using these Wheely King shocks that I took off my Wheely King. We're going to use the spring as well. And they do need to be modified to be a little smaller. They're going to be about right there, so they land better on the truck. Has a little bit better stance. And we're going to utilize a piece of tubing to do that. So here's this piece of tubing I already cut. And also we're going to use this little bushing as well. So to take apart this shock, we pull back the spring. Take this piece off. Pull the spring out. Okay. And there's going to be a little shoulder right here. We're going to pull that off. Just like that. And then now we're going to go ahead and take all the fluid out. So what I use, I just use an adjustable. Hop on that dude right on the end. Take a twist. It'll crack open. Spin this top off. And then we're going to dump the oil. And we're going to push the plunger right on in. We're going to give it a couple strokes. Try to get all that oil out. And the oil that we'll be using later is Losi Racing 40. We're using 35 in the front, 40 in the back. Alright, so that takes care of that. So now we need to get this shaft out, because we got to put our hose and our little bushing on. So what I use is a pair of pliers that I wrapped electrical tape with. And the reason why I did that, I don't want to scratch up this shaft at all, you know, because it goes in and out, and there's a couple gaskets right here, so we don't want to ruin these gaskets with a bunch of scrapes, and it'll cut right through that gasket. So I use this. We're going to hold on to the shaft, and we're going to take this ball end off. Just hold down tight, and we're going to twist this off. Alright, that comes off. Now we should be ready to come out. So we just push this plunger all the way in. Should poke out. There's our shaft. So now we're going to add our bushing. Just like that. That way the holes can still breathe for the oil to go in and out. We're going to use our tubing. I'm just going to slide that tubing on. Just like that. So our modification's done. All we got to do is put it back together. So our ball end's back on. And now we're going to put some oil in this thing. So here's our oil. I'll fill her up. I'm going to fill this up almost all the way, but not all the way. There's going to be a little bit of a gap. Let me show you better. It's not to the top. I got a little bit in there. There's about 1/4 of an inch of play right there. So what I'll do, I'm going to move my plunger up slowly. And what that's going to do is going to set that oil down below. And I pull back, pull up, pull down, add some more oil. Again, I got about 1/4 of an inch towards the top. Move it up, move it down, move it up, move it down. tap it a little bit to let that air bubbles kind of come out a little bit and just kind of hang on for a second. Alright, so now we're going to top it off, but we don't want to top it off all the way. I want a little bit of gap because when we put this top cap back on, it's going to push this oil down. So it'll be filled up with oil completely. It's just we don't want to fill it up to the top. So we're going to fill it up the rest of the way. Leave a little itty bitty gap. And of course I put a little bit too much in it. Alright, so I took a little bit out. I'm going to put the top cap back on. Alright, so we got this filled with oil, and I'll just give it a quick plunge up and down. That feels pretty good to me. So now we got that thing filled up with oil. Feels really good. We're going to make sure everything's tight. Alright, so we got our shock filled with oil, ready to go. We're going to put our shoulder back on, this piece right here. Slide that on. Slide our spring back on. Put our bottom piece on. Set that down on the ball end. Set my spring on it, and we are done with that spring. Give it a quick test, and man, that feels like butter to me. Man, does that feel like butter. Wow, that feels good. Alright, so we're going to do that another time. I got one more spring to do and we'll be done. I'll be right back. Alright, so we're all done with our modifications to our shocks. Now they're ready to go on the truck. So we got to take the old shocks off and put these on. I'm pretty excited, so let's get to it. Alright, it's time to replace these shocks. I'm pretty excited about this, so we're just going to take off both these tires real quick. So we got both tires off now, so now it's time to take off these shocks. And like I said, I put these in. These are XXX-T rear shocks, and these ain't doing the job at all. It needs to be about right here, so that's where I have the new shocks set. And then we have smaller springs and everything, so I think it's going to work out great with the new spring setup and new shock setup. So we're going to remove this shock now. So we're starting at the bottom. Can't get a nut driver on the other end, so I'm going to have to use a pair of pliers again. Alright, we got the bottom off. Now we got to do the top. Alright, so we're removing this top of this shock now. I got the truck upside down. Coming out. Wow. I did a pretty bang up job on it. What I had to use a piece of rubber because I couldn't find a bushing that fit the top cap. So I'm kind of glad I'm getting rid of this shock on this truck. We're not gonna keep this, but I'm just glad we're taking this off. Now we can install this bad boy. So we're gonna take a quick look. Yep, we gotta open this up a little bit. There it is. Alright, so I got that bin out. And then this will now fit inside of there now. So that's good. I'm going to get this thing put in the top. Alright y'all, it took me some doing, but I got it on there. I had to flare out that that piece right there. Let me show you. So there it is. Had to flare that out, and then I had to work that bolt in, and then I got that nut on it. So now we're officially connected at the top. Now we got to get the bottom, which is really easy. Alright y'all, so I had to figure out some hardware for my bottom shock. So finally got it figured out, and we're going to go ahead and bolt it up. So all you do is Get that in there. And then that's threaded, so we're going to have to get a Allen wrench and then work its way in. So now we're going to put a nut on the other side. Alright y'all, so we got the one shock on. I'm pretty excited. Looks pretty good. Oh, way better. Just on that side. This side is just horrible. So we're going to get this other end done. And yeah, after this done I'll show you. I'll be right back. Alright, we finally got the last shock on and I am extremely happy. There's the one side right there. Here's the other side. And it does still touch the motor, but not as bad. So I'll take that all day long. That's nice. Right there. That's perfect. Man, that's nice. So I'm extremely excited. And this is going to be a brand new truck by the time I'm done. I'm going to put the tires on really quick. And I'll show you what it looks like. Alright, we're officially all done. At least for tonight. It's 4 o'clock in the morning, and I'm not joking. Yeah, this thing feels like butter now. It actually has suspension. I'm really happy. When I had the XXX-T shocks on, it didn't have any suspension, honestly. It just felt like there was none. You know, so this actually feels like it has some suspension. I'm really happy how it looks, and two, how it acts. Man, that's just butter. So tomorrow, we got a lot planned for tomorrow. We're going to be doing the ESC more than likely, and the receiver. And we're going to get that done. And I think that'd be it on this truck. No, we're going to put a race cap in this thing too, just to help with it. And anything that's not waterproof, we're going to waterproof it. We're going to put the waterproof servo box in it. Not servo box, but receiver box in it. And we'll be good to go. So, tomorrow, going to work.